the rumor time process, and I came across this quote: behind every behavior is a belief.
Whatever setting you go to, whether you're at church, whether you're at school, whether you maybe have
I was able to analyze a little bit more.
Bringing about real positive
in order
changes.
For me to be effective, I have to be reflective. And this training...
I gather an appreciation for reflecting. And I
take it from just something that's inside to getting it in a tangible form, getting it out from...
fulfilling and rewarding to see the kids who coming and they sincerely growth in them. They became more reflective in their thinking, to see children grow and not just see, but to be a part of it.
What I have learned in camp about rumor time is that it's a process for solving problems we face in our lives.
My stress, and then I begin to enjoy and spend time on the things that really make me happy.
I recommend this training to all age, from kindergarten.
Before you do that thing that you'll regret, or say that thing.
If you breathe and think, you should have this training.
I would recommend this to everyone.
All right. Well, hello, good people in social media land all across the globe.
Hello.
Welcome to our Access RUMERTIME Conversations podcast. My name is Dr. Yvonne Larrier, and I am one of your hosts. And the other members will introduce themselves.
Yes, greetings everyone. Hi, I'm Dr. Geneva Fleming. I'm bringing you greetings from the lovely state of South Carolina in the U.S.
And I'm Laverne Shaw Bailey, and I live in, I don't know how lovely it is, but it's North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vanessa Kelleybrew, and I bring you greetings from the city with the heart, Elkhart, Indiana.
All right. Wonderful. And we have our guest.
Hi, I'm Dacey Davis, and I also am coming from Elkhart, Indiana.
Awesome. Right. Good to have you all here today. So, we're still on our back to school edition, and you know how we do it. We have the first few minutes where we do some educating, because GC scored our mission and vision, and our goals are to one goal. The first goal is to increase access to the rumor time process. And our second goal is to educate, equip, and empower. And so right now we're going to put our PowerPoint up, and we will share with you our education segment. Caroline Obasoro, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
She's joining us all the way from Nigeria.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome. All right, Vanessa, you have that slide?
Okay.
Go ahead and share it. It's not coming up?
Or is it? Hold on, let me check it
Okay.
again. How is that?
There we go. All right. So, Geneva, you want to tell us mission?
I love to give our mission statement. Here at GC Scored, we are all about this mission, which is to renew minds, transform lives, and create safer communities. We can't talk about creating a safer community until we get our minds right. So, moving along.
Yes, thank you.
And how do we do that? So we do that through social emotional health and wellness. And what is that? So social emotional health and wellness, it's a person's ability to recognize, understand, manage, express, and reflect on their thoughts, their interactions, their mindsets and emotions as it relates to self and others and different situations. And so as people effectively utilize these skills, they become equipped and empowered to successfully navigate daily activities such as loving, learning, earning, relationship building, problem solving, and adapting to the demands of growth and development.
Awesome.
So Rumor Time is actually an acronym, and Vanessa talked to you briefly about that. And the way that we use this strategy is that we go through the rumor part of the acronym, for each of the concepts in time. So we recognize our thoughts, our interactions, our mindsets, and emotions. And then once we've done that work, we try to understand our thoughts, our interactions, our mindsets, and emotions. And when we've done that, we try to manage, and so on and so forth through each step of both parts of this acronym, the rumor time, until we get all the way down to reflect. And we do the same thing. We reflect on our thoughts, our interactions, our mindsets, and emotions.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And so to put it all together, the rumor time process is a 5-step culturally responsive problem solving, social emotional problem solving strategy that helps individuals of all ages, races, stages, places, orientations, helps us move from within us and interpersonal imbalance to intra and interpersonal balance, and from unconscious living to conscious living. And so we want to make sure that we frame our discussion every time we meet, every second and fourth Mondays, we go over this, because we want individuals to understand that this is the context in which we're talking, right? This is the context in which we're talking, so that you have a framework, you have some background information on what we are referring to when we talk about rumorizing and rumor time, etc. All right, so let's dive right in. So Dacey is our guest, our illustrious, beautiful guest, and so we're so grateful to have you. And so Dacey, please tell our viewing and listening audience who you are, where you're from, and all the amazing things that you're doing. This is an opportunity for our guests to share with you, get to know them as you know us.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. So my name is Dacey. I am a leadership coach and I am an L&D consultant. So in my consulting, I help individuals and businesses maximize their capabilities and resources by developing people, programs, and systems. As a leadership coach, I help you cultivate your confidence and clarify your leadership identity so you can lead with authenticity, operate in excellence, and thrive with a core foundation. So I also am president of the school board in Elkhart, Indiana. So the common theme throughout all of the things that I do is that I love equipping people to take advantage of opportunities on their own. You can give somebody a fish, or you can teach them how to fish. Everything that I do and everything that I value is pouring into other people so that they can become the best version of themselves and create the best life. And I do understand that not everybody has that opportunity. Not everybody has access, resources, support, or love. That is my why. I want to provide and fill in the gaps to allow people to create those opportunities and empower, equip, and encourage them to do so. So that's what I do. That's what I believe in. And that's why I love what you're doing through your program.
Thank you. So if you guys are looking for any type of leadership consulting or coaching, Dacey is the one. And so we can put Dacey's information up, an email that people can get in touch with you at,
Yes.
Dacey? Okay, so if you can tell me what it is, and
Dacey
we will get
Davis
that
at
to you.
yahoo.com.
Say it again.
Dacey Davis, DACEY, Davis, DAVIS at yahoo.com. I will be happy to help you in any way, shape, or form with leadership coaching, career coaching, HR. I spent a lot of time in HR. So anything that you need that develops people, programs, and systems to help you maximize your capabilities and resources, branding, all of that, I will be happy to help. And please send me an email.
Awesome. Thank you. You know, we here at GC Scored on the Access RUMERTIME Conversations podcast, we don't have money to pay people, but what we do, we give people the opportunity to tell the world who they are, and that is that in some cases that's equivalent to some to you know, financial remuneration.
Right.
So we want to promote you and anybody else who chooses to come on our show. All right, so let's dive in. What is Laverne, you have the first question. What is it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm always curious. How did you find out about Rumor Time? How did you get here?
So, Vanessa and I are in a book club together. I lead a book club through a ministry, and through the books that we read, the last one was a leadership book, and we were just sharing about our experiences, our background, and Vanessa shared about some of the work she does at IUSB. I work for Vincennes University in their college and career readiness program. I teach college and career readiness classes, and I thought, man, I love what Vanessa said. I want to meet with her and talk to her and ask her to be a guest speaker in one of my classes. When we talked, she shared with me about the work that she does with Dr. Larrier and about the curriculum. And she said, you know what? I think we all should meet. After I met with them and they shared with me what the curriculum was about, I had a deep desire to add that social and emotional concept or those strategies in with my college and career readiness classes. It was a perfect fit and it was very timely. And I was really excited to dive into the curriculum to see what the outcomes would be and if it would be all that I expected it to be. And let me tell y'all, it was
Wait, don't tell him.
Okay.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him. Let's make sure this.
I'm just saying it was very timely. It was very timely. I fill in the gaps with the traditional college and career readiness, with the traditional assessments, the helping people fill out the applications, but there's a piece of that is missing, that we are not preparing kids to manage themselves when they get to college. They don't have the strategies, they don't have the tools. That's the gap that I saw in the curriculum that was in the programming, that I wanted to fill that gap. You really need to have a clear understanding of who you are, what's important to you, and how can you connect that to what you do? Because a career is long-term, it's growth, it is moving from one area to another. Traditionally, people go to college, you get a degree, you may not use it, or people are job hopping. I want to show the kids and give them the tools that they need to pick the right career, that not just best for what they're good at, what the expectations of the teachers or other people, but I want them to connect with a career that fits with who they are and who they want to become, but also give them the tools to navigate that process. Without these social and emotional skills, you can't adjust to having your first apartment or the pressure, because the pressure from going to high school to college is on a different level. If you don't have these tools, you don't manage. That's why a lot of kids, their freshman year, gain weight. Some of them don't have passing grades. Some of them get into anxiety and have to move back home. This is why this program was so timely, and it filled a gap with something that I think is really important to prepare kids for life after college.
I just need to echo what you're saying, Dacey, because you just spoke the mission of why we do what we do, the mission of GC Scored to renew minds, because all those things that you just shared speaks volume to the fact that you got to have your mind together, you know, and in a lot of instances, individuals may need to rethink how they do what they do, even rethink what they're looking at, what they're paying attention to, what their life paths might be. And so to renew minds before transformation, it starts right here.
Right.
And so it sounds like that is one of the things that you are doing. And maybe later on, there's something else I want to echo, but I wanted to just say how much you just spoke to that piece of our mission that talks about renewing the mind and the necessity of preparing youth for college. It even happens later as well. So let's carry on.
And that.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Dacey, was there something? Did you meet with Vanessa during the pandemic? Was that during the pandemic? that you had this conversation with her and then met Dr. Larrier?
So the conversation started December of last year, and I was able to start teaching the curriculum for the spring semester. So I taught all of this spring semester, and I'm hoping to continue to teach this curriculum and expand it to some other programs I'm working with. I would love to get them connected with Elkhart Community Schools. We have some initiatives, but also expand it to where I can do some of the curriculum. Vincennes University offers college and career readiness with elementary students, junior high students, as well as the high school students that I taught during the spring semester.
Was there something specific about the pandemic that really caught your attention with regards to the social emotional piece?
It was during the summer before the fall semester started. I participated in a conference, and I don't remember the title of the conference, but one speaker like really touched me in particular. He was talking about the impact of COVID and how we were all almost ridiculous to think that kids could come back to school, get back into the regular routine and not have any issues. None of us even realized or considered how much the pandemic and being isolated and being fearful 24 hours a day would impact not just kids, but adults. But he broke it down to a granular level that I had never considered it from. He said that when you think about kids who may live in trauma, may live in unsafe environments, may not have the support or guidance or supervision they need, they may spend 8 to 16 hours out of a 24-hour period at school, at activities outside of that environment. But during the pandemic, over a year, they were spending 24 hours a day under those stressors, being isolated from the only support, love, or structure they had. And for over a year, that took a toll on them. And so what we did as educators, teachers, parents, we expected them to go back to school with business as usual. I know that kids have had this routine for your whole life, but after going through that level of trauma and isolation, it was silly for anybody to think that kids could just get back into that same routine. That really touched me because although I feel like we all very intelligent people, I don't think anybody considered it from that point of view. And for me, watching, knowing that I have a group of kids that I'm responsible for coming this fall, during the planning, during the summer, I said, we need this. We have to have some social emotional curriculum so that we can help kids, not just, that was the initial, help them transition back into a normal schedule, provide them extra support. But then it's that additional piece that I've already talked about. This is the same kind of trauma that they can experience leaving high school and going to college. It's an extension of that. So that's what started it, me putting it on my radar that this is what I want to do for the next semester. And then Vanessa planted the seed that watered into what it is now. So I was very grateful that one, I surround myself or have a network of people who are doing important things, but are also willing to share what they're doing and why it's important. Had Vanessa not had the confidence or the forethought to share what she was doing in an unrelated context, I would have never been able to access this curriculum or even find it as a good solution for what I'm doing because Vanessa was sharing her expertise with people. You never know who needs what you have to offer. That's why you have to be open with what you have to offer because everybody has an audience. Somebody needs what you have. If you're not making it known what you have, you are doing a disservice to all the people who need.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Dacey. Thank you. You're right. Yes. You know, when you look at the research supports what you said earlier about transitioning to college. MetLife I think is in 2014. MetLife did a study, a nationwide study talking about transitioning students who go to college, first time away from home, and the level of dropout failure, drug use, drug and alcohol use, all of those risk factors show up because they academically they may have it together, but socially, emotionally, they have no clue. And that is what causes them to not succeed in that period of their lives.
Yeah.
And so it's critical at every point in one's life. And so then to move on to the next point about sharing what you have, opportunity, being prepared. Preparation meets opportunity. And then we have this, right? We have these 5 beautiful, powerful, spirit-filled Black women from all over, right? And the thing that connects us is what? Is the desire to renew minds, transform lives, and create safer communities. And so I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful. Vanessa, what do you want to say?
Well, go on. I'm going to yield to Dr. Geneva first, and then I'll follow. Go on.
Yeah, I wanted to add to what Dr. Larrier just shared, Dacey, about that speaker, for instance. The one thing you mentioned a couple of things about not just giving a fish, but teaching people how to fish. And I don't know who that speaker was at that conference either, but I may have been one of the few who stand in agreement with him and would share any opportunity I had to share with others. Is one of the good things that we learned about the pandemic. We learned it now is what are we going to do with that we learned? But one of the good things that we learned from that pandemic is that schools are not just institutions of learning only, or they're not just academic students, a place you show up to learn how to read, write, and get some arithmetic, but it's an institution that provided so much more. And so that whole social, emotional engagement, even nutrition, that became a big deal, because I know in my state, that was a big deal that the schools continued to make provisions for, was meals, because many of the constituents, many of those students were not getting nutritious meals outside of the school system. So now that institution was shut down, it revealed all the missing links, or it revealed the many wonderful things that institution could provide, but was no longer able to provide. So the social emotional wherewithal is probably the largest piece that's missing and continues to be missing. Even though school is out, we still recognize the need for people to learn strategies for renewing their minds so that their entire beings can be transformed. And in that way, we can move on with those decisions about college, decisions about life. So thanks. I pass the mic to you, Vanessa.
All right. Thank you, Dr. G, for those points that you made. And one of the other things or other points that I would also like to add, based on what you were just sharing, Dacey, about using the curriculum to help high school students and prepare them for college, and also for the children. Right. So all of people who were benefiting from this during the pandemic. I also wanted to add to that equation those people who were there to help the children. So we talk a lot about the children. We forget, though, that the teachers were also going through this. And I make that point to share that this curriculum is for everybody.
That's right.
So not just the children. Certainly they needed it because that's where they learn a lot of these skills in school. Certainly the high school students need it because they are preparing for life, right? Outside of a structured environment, in high school. So then when they go to college, it's a whole different experience, right? So they don't necessarily have people there holding their hands, holding them accountable. They have to have these skills to learn how to navigate life. But there was also the piece of the teachers who were also going through this pandemic and learning how to navigate this. And so I know, Dr. Larrier, we've talked a lot to adults in this platform and how they would be able to utilize this. But I wonder if we could talk a little bit about the teachers and how important it is for them to understand the importance of the social emotional wellness, not just for the students that they work with, but also for themselves. Because as you said, maybe there is a possibility, for some endeavor of us being able to work with the school system.
Here's why I think that's important. We know that teachers are underpaid, overworked. They have a lot of like state testing and other things. And when we come with one more thing they have to learn and facilitate, it feels like too much. But what this is actually different, especially if you are maybe engaging with students that maybe are from a different background, or like me, I don't have a trauma history. My ACEs score is 0. So sometimes for people like me, it's difficult to relate to some of these scenarios when kids come to school, misbehave, and they're dirty, they're this, they're that. It's really hard for you to relate if that's not your personal experience. This curriculum is a way to bridge the gap, so that allows you to connect with people who are different from you, allows you to put yourself in their shoes without being judgmental or without treating them differently. It's a tool to help me as an educator do my job better. So I don't view it as one more thing I have to learn. I view it as this is equipping me to do my job better, because to be a good educator, to be impactful and influential, people have to know you, they have to like you, and then they trust you, and then I can impart the information I need. If they don't know me, they don't like me, they don't trust me, I don't care how great I am, I don't care how good of a math teacher I am, I'm not going to be able to get through to the kids. So we need to start seeing some of this stuff as a way to enable us to be more effective and not just something else we have to do. It is an invaluable tool to help you connect with other people. Without social awareness, self-reflection, being introspective, and really being able to seek to understand what other people are saying and what it's like from their culture, you're unable to have an impact. I know for Vincent's University, my high school students are at East Allen University in Fort Wayne. A high percentage of my students are Burmese. I don't even know where that is on the map before I started teaching the class. You know what I mean? These are students that look different from anybody I see in Elkhart, Indiana. Their priorities are different. Their perspectives are different. This actually, like, I have been working with the same group for over 2 years, but this actually allowed me to go a little bit deeper. It gave me a different approach to take to see things from a different perspective, but also to approach how I'm going to teach and communicate with them from a different perspective. Without this, there is no that.
Yes. Well, let's get to a little bit of what that actually looked like, because what you're saying sounds amazing, right? Like, what, there was all this interaction and people were going deep. Well, how were you actually, what is it about the curriculum that was allowing you to create that kind of space where people felt comfortable? Can you give us a little sense of how you did it? And then the other piece of that is how they received that.
Okay.
If you can pick one student, maybe,
So the part of the curriculum I utilized was the video series. You watch a video, it educates you first, there's a pause, you can have discussion, there's activities. It's important for me because my courses are after school. I don't want to overwhelm the student, so I try to incorporate participation, discussions, homework, everything in that group discussion. I know because some of these topics or activities are more of a sensitive nature, it feels safer to do it in a group setting so that you know you're not alone. So that's how I facilitated the curriculum. We talked through everything together. I added, and this is who I am as a coach and as a facilitator. I share a lot about myself. I love using stories, but students, if you can't relate, then you don't learn. So I try to share pieces of my story that show them I look well put together. I'm teaching you, but I'm also learning from you. And here are some things, not just from the past, but I will use current circumstances to show the link between as an adult, here's how I'm applying the curriculum, and here's a situation I had, here's how I handle it, here's how I went back to the rumor time process, because I need you to learn in real time and I need you to have practical application. There is no way you can go through this curriculum and not be able to apply it immediately to your life. The curriculum is easy to follow, it is easy to facilitate, but it's very building block. One thing builds on another. So it's just easy to follow. So some of the activities, we did them all in class. And so I would always have follow-up questions, or I would keep an eye on the chat to see what people are saying and then ask people to go deeper and explain, what about this? What about that? So students were learning in real time.
In real time.
What I can say is I was not expecting the level of transparency and the level that they shared about their experiences from the activities. It's like literally, at first I'm like, these activities are so simple. What is this really going to do? But then after you get into it, it's like there's no way. If you've ever graded homework, you know they didn't take it serious. They fudging it. This is not a curriculum. Any of the activities, no matter how simple they seem, you can't fake your way through it.
You can't.
You have to do something personal. And I can tell you that grading some of the homework, there were some assignments that I felt were a little bit more important that I wanted them to take more time on. I was emotional. In fact, some of the homework assignments, I cried because I couldn't believe that these kids are going through so much. Couple of the things that they shared. One individual, I believe it was a female student, she shared how her dad left the family when they were younger and how it made her feel like it was her fault and how alone she felt and how it impacted her relationships and how it made her anxious and depressed. And I mean, the level of detail and openness they gave. Other people talked about body image issues. I recall one girl was either getting ready for a special event where she had to buy like a formal dress, and how fat she looked and how she was dreading going to it, and and the level of support that the kids jumped in when I never said names, but if I read homework that I felt like these kids need something extra and I want to pour into them, I would say, hey, for the person who is blah, 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 level of support and love that came through that chat. Some people will unmute and say, hey, whoever you are, I'm sure you look beautiful. That's not something you expect, because we know high school students, they don't like to share. They're not trying to tell you nothing.
Nothing.
And did not get that. These kids were committed to the process, and they were all in with sharing and the homework. And that's something that I wasn't quite prepared for. And a lot of it has to do with the way the curriculum is set up. It's almost like, I don't want to say bulletproof, but like dummy proof. You can't mess it up. If you follow it, you can't mess it up. And those are the outcomes that I got. They were just fantastic. And at the end of the semester, I would say half the class was half male, half female. And I think we traditionally know women were more emotional. We like to share. We love giving details. I had just as much engagement from the male students as female. And I had in person, my classes are virtual. I facilitate through Zoom. At the end of the semester, I like to go on campus, get the feedback. And the majority of students, both male and female, said, I want to continue learning about this curriculum. I want to continue doing this SEL work. I had some students say, based on the work I did, I'm changing my college and career path because I don't think what I chose is right for me. I said, how many of you were able to apply? Almost the whole class said I was able to apply what I learned immediately, not at the end of the semester, but after each class. I found it to be very transformational, much more than I anticipated, especially when you're dealing with high school students.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that adds to that transformation is
Geneva, hold on. I want what Dacey just said is so deep and profound. I wanted to sit for a while and not move on to something else, because
it's not something else. It definitely relates.
Yeah, the profundity of these observations need to just sit for a bit. This is
Wait, let me just add to that, because I'm the facilitator. I started off with 40 students, which we all know is too much for one educator. That's neither here nor there. But I had a Zoom monitor to help me, work the chat, make sure, everybody's screen names, everybody was on camera. And I also did a follow-up with her after the semester. What did she think? What can we improve? There's always talks when you do a virtual class. Should I be in person? What does this look like next semester? And her input was, for this type of conversation and curriculum, it would be a huge mistake to move it in person because the kids wouldn't feel as comfortable sharing when you're face to face with people. She said, I think you got the impact you did because of how the curriculum was set up, but because the students had the safety of the camera that allowed them to open up. And then she said something I was not expecting. She said, I even had some aha moments during this. She said, I'm trying to run the Zoom. And she said, the Oprah aha moment. So that's a big moment if she said Oprah aha moment. She said, I learned and grew through this semester. And she wasn't even an active participant. She was just a bystander. That speaks to the strength of this curriculum when somebody that's just listening to what's happening, listening to people model the right behavior is also being impacted. That's a testament to this curriculum, but also what we should be doing as individuals, especially if you are responsible for molding the lives and the behavior of other people, not just kids. Somebody is always watching. You don't know who, you don't know when, and it's important that we are always modeling that right behavior. But I think that was powerful that she got transformation just by listening to the curriculum.
So I want to jump in just for a second because I really want to engage our listening audience. Dacey, you have shared so much, so many, powerful examples of how this curriculum works. And you also said something too that again was very powerful about like someone is always watching. And how this can be so impactful, not even if you are actively doing this, but even just watching or listening and learning. And so I really want to engage our audience and encourage you to share any questions that you have with us for Dacey or for any of us on the panel to see how this so far has been impacting you as you've been listening to the experience that Dacey has had with this curriculum with the students that she teaches, as well as the experiences of that they have shared that they've gained from utilizing this curriculum. So any questions you have, please feel free to put them in the chat. Tamara, and I hope I'm saying this right, Tamara Rouse, just added that, Tamara says that this needs to be, this curriculum needs to be in every school.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
We agree.
I totally agree with you on that.
Tamara, we agree. You're not going to get any disagreement from us on this call.
I want to just make one comment about that. I'm putting on my school board hat right now. there is usually some backlash for this social and emotional work. This is not meant to take the place of parenting. We are not telling your kids what to think, how to think, how to behave. We are helping them manage so that they can make those decisions for themselves. And that's quite different. Everybody needs to understand how to manage their behavior, their emotions, their thoughts, so that you get good outcomes, that you don't end up in jail or kicked out of school or doing things you don't regret. It's not taking the place of what the teachers do. It's not taking the place of what parents do. It's equipping your kids to be the best version of themselves by allowing them to understand who they are and what they need. You can't manage yourself, your behavior, your thoughts, or your emotions if you don't understand that. They need this. We need this in the schools. We need this everywhere, to be honest, but definitely in the schools where that is where the majority of the work is, getting kids ready for life after high school.
Awesome.
Tamara also commented in the chat that transparency can build relationships. And she put that in when you were speaking to the support that the students had for one another, in the virtual forum. You shared about the one student who had some concerns about body image, but the support that she got, to move forward with making plans for that particular event. And she said that transparency can build relationships, and that is exactly what happened, in that particular setting. So, we use in the RUMERTIME process, we use an agriculture metaphor, that adds to the relatability of the work that we're doing. And so we talk about sowers. I'm just going to talk about the sowers piece, as we were talking about teachers and what their needs are, and what you just described. Every teacher in America, probably global, in terms of the amount of work that they're expected to perform. And what we know for sure is an individual can't give what they don't have. So we see teachers as sowers. I mean, just by virtue of their position with students, they are considered a sower in the agricultural scheme of things. And what does a sower do? They impart, they give, but they can't give what they don't have. So that I'm saying that to say we need to educate and equip teachers to first be able to manage themselves and the issues that they're dealing with. And then they can also better be positioned to impart that with the students that they are serving, and teach students how to do the same thing. So absolutely, you spoke volumes, and
volumes. Yeah, and so before there are a couple other comments we want to get to, but I want to say, as air is to life, so are social emotional competencies to relationships. They are like the air we breathe. We don't just have children needing air to live, right? We don't just have adults needing air to live. We all need air to live. Similarly, we all need social emotional skills to have healthy relationships. So we're focusing right now on the back to school and on all the stakeholders involved in that. But the RUMERTIME process goes above and beyond and outside of educational systems. Again, as air is to life, so are social emotional competencies to relationships. It's like the air you breathe. All right, so there's some other comments. Sabrina Taylor, thank you for coming on. And the question is, what does the panel feel are the best practices to introduce this to other schools?
I can answer just from my perspective. Here's what I did. Everything that we accomplish comes through relationships and people making those connections. So what I did for this team is I identified in Elkhart Community Schools who could use the curriculum, where would it be most impactful, and I connected them right to that person. So part of this is about educating that group or whoever the benefits, what the program looks like, sharing my experiences, but somebody has to take the lead to make the connection. if I hadn't made the connection, the amount of work it would have taken them to get to the right people, to do the email back and forth, nobody has time for that. So if I know whoever I think I may have made 4 connections with them so far.
You
And
sure
if I
did.
come into somebody else, I will continue to do it. So that's how you get in with any organizations, not just schools. You know somebody and you contact the right person, but I have to have the right messaging. The email I sent, nobody, after I shared how impactful it was for me, nobody would not at least take the meeting. You just wouldn't, because my experience was that great that you need to experience it too. So even if they don't have the money, maybe it's not the right time, you can still make the connection, because you never know when the time will be right and when the funds will be available. The connection is already made. They already have a desire to engage, and the work after that is a lot easier.
Yeah, thank you. So the message here, ladies and gentlemen who are viewing now and who are going to view later, let us connect us with your connections, right? Let us into your network, so that we can do this work. What you heard from Miss Dacey today, you can experience it too. Our goal, our number one goal at GC Scored is to increase access. We're not trying to hoard this and keep it to ourselves. It does us no good, right? You know, trees bear fruit, not for the tree to eat the fruit. The tree bears the fruit for us to eat the fruit, right? So
another agricultural metaphor.
Yeah, that's all part of our agricultural metaphor. So we are bearing this fruit so that others everywhere across the globe can have access and become educated, equipped, and empowered in the RUMERTIME process.
Yes, and it starts, and it can start with you,
exactly.
you, and you. The interest.
Exactly.
It starts with one interested person.
Exactly.
And you be the voice to get that started. And if you feel ill-equipped or you don't have, then engage us. Our website is there. Our contact information you can get by going through the website. Thank you. Very good question.
Yeah, Vanessa, go ahead and read some more of the comments.
Okay, we have JJ. He says, "Hey team, I'm always living
Lyman. He's from Trinidad.
Great to see and hear how this works in a group session. I'm hoping to implement this from today. My hours with them are short, but I'm Mr. Impactful and I'll make it work." All right. Great.
My class time was only 45 minutes, and that's still with a little chat time to give them time to unwind at the beginning and some time at the end. So you don't need a lot of time for this to be impactful.
Yes. Thank you. That's powerful.
Thanks so much. It's so wonderful having you on, Dacey, because you're really like giving us the inside scoop into how someone in your position is using, people will use it in multiple different ways, right? So I don't think people need to be scared that it's this whole thing that they just need to have delivered to them. There are lots of different ways to utilize and implement the RUMERTIME process. Yeah, and you're wonderful how you're doing that.
Yeah, and remember, I only utilized like a small portion, which was the video. They have so much more to offer, so many other products and deliverables. This is just what I got, what I was able to glean from it, just from the videos.
Yeah.
And in a short period of time, I might add.
Yes, 45 minutes once a week.
Absolutely.
And not a lot of time on your part. Again, there are ways to go really deep and you get benefit from that. And there are ways to not go as deep and still get so much of the benefit from the process.
And let me just speak to the prep time. Because of my audience, was not as comfortable for me as far as knowing their culture and background, even though I've been working with them. The prep time is not a lot. If I didn't feel like I wanted to put in an hour to prepare whatever, I could just do the video. Everything you need is right there. So you can put as much extra into it, or you can just take it and run if you don't have a lot of prep time. So it's up to you, but you have everything you need in the curriculum to utilize it effectively.
Awesome,
Yep,
awesome,
yep, yep.
awesome. Vanessa, what else is in the chat?
Yeah, so we have Caroline on. So one of the things Caroline said, she said, "Well said, Ma. Teachers are sowers, areas to life. So is social emotional to building relationships." And she says, "Thanks very much." And also that she is planning to be more relevant in her environment. That's wonderful. And she says, "This training is of great help to me and my career." Wonderful. And I also wanted to add, she used the metaphor, Dr. Larrier, that you used about trees bearing fruit, not so that the tree can eat the fruit, but so that others can have the fruit. So, yeah.
And then Tamara said, what did she say here?
Yeah, she says, "Hey, Dr. G and Dr. Larrier, this is motivation for me to continue my training."
Very good. Very good. Tamara is a former student of mine. And so welcome. Thanks, Tamara, for joining in today. And I saw we had someone else from South Carolina, Ms. James. Thank you so much. We welcome all of our guests who are joining in today from wherever you are joining in from, and for being so engaged with this conversation.
I want to add one more thing about the training and support. I have been an educator for a long time in different facets: HR, ministry, corporate training. Some programs you buy, you get it. There's nobody to help you. There's no additional training. Sometimes the stuff you get, you have to fix it up before you use it. This training is ready to go right out the box, if that's what you want to say, but also the level of support and training that they also provide. If you are new to this and this might not be your lane or your forte, the training that they provide that you have access to is very extensive. There's no way that you could not be successful and feel competent in facilitating this program with the level of support and training that comes with the GC score and the RUMERTIME process.
Very well stated. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And you know, everything we do is based on the whole cultivating seed system framework is an agricultural metaphor, as Geneva said. And we take that to the nth degree, right? Everything, that's the language we use, because it is the language, that's a global language. Everybody knows what air is. We all breathe it. So, I mean, that we're starting from a place of basic knowledge and lived experience. And so one of the reasons why we are intentional about making sure that you're not alone, that when you're taking the training or when you purchase our curriculum, that we are there walking beside you, is because we know when you plant something, when you plant a seed, you have to nurture it, right? You have to fertilize it, you have to water it, you have to make sure it is in the right soil, and there are things that you do. And so we align what we do with the whole plant world process of development and growth. And so we see ourselves as sowers, cultivators, gardeners, doing the same work that somebody is doing when they are actually planting seeds that are from the plant world. So yes, you will not be alone. And we also do it because we want to make sure that you get the full impact of what this program has to offer. One of the things that we do, we are very particular about is the fidelity of the program, the implementation and utilization of this program, because we do not want it to be said, especially without substantiated. We do not want it to be said that it didn't work. because we know it works. Now, what we have to make sure, and why we, provide so much hands-on supervision and interaction and engagement, is because we want to make sure that you understand the concepts that we are trying to get across. Therefore, we are looking to make sure that in different ways, we are teaching you, we're educating you, equipping you with the components of the Cultivating Seed System framework. And we whenever somebody is using our system, we have supervision on a weekly basis. We interact with people on a weekly basis so that you, and if something comes up while you're teaching, you don't have to wait long to reach out to us to get feedback. And we can say, okay, well, maybe try it this way this time. Think about the audience. Think about, we help you conceptualize this in a way that is practical and relevant to your audience, but also being true to the Cultivating Seed System framework. All right. Do we have any more comments? I think we do.
Yeah, so again, Caroline is thanking Dacey for being part of our show today and sharing the information and the knowledge that you gained from using the curriculum, Dacey. And we all just are very appreciative that you were willing to come on and share with us and our audience today.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So what are our last words? We have 1 minute. Everybody gets to do their last words.
Oh gosh.
Well, I'm just grateful that you were able to share this word has come up, granular, on a granular level, how you're actually implementing it. We didn't get stories about the students, but I think we get a clear sense of just how you're explaining of the impact that it has had on your students' life in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you are on the fence about getting this curriculum and you have any doubts, I can tell you it's worth the investment of time. It's worth the investment of money. If you're still not sure, book an appointment, reach out and get more information. But I guarantee if you do it, you will make a big impact on whatever audience you have. I'm so happy to be here. And if there's anything else that I can share with you or you need any of my services for coaching or consulting, please reach out, daceydavis.com. I would be happy to help.
There it is at the bottom of your screen. Thank you.
Yes. My last word is let's multiply Dacey's experience across the globe.
There you go. There you go. I love it, Geneva.
Multiply Dacey.
Vanessa?
Yeah, and I'll just go back and piggyback on what Dacey said before about this curriculum, that it bridges the gaps for people. So please use it.
Yes.
If you don't need it, you know somebody else who needs it. So check your circle, check your network, people you work with, other colleagues, connect the GC group with somebody else. Help them make access to these strategies easier by advocating for them.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to just say in closing, as air is to life, so are social emotional competencies to relationships. It is like the air we breathe. So I know Dacey just said, if you don't think you need it, trust me. If you don't think you need it, you need it. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Tamara says, thank you, Dacey. Everybody's thanking you, Dacey. You did an amazing job. We see Daphne was having some trouble with volume. And Daphne is recorded, so you can go on Facebook or YouTube and you get the recorded version. Thank you for showing up anyway. And Carolyn, all the way from Nigeria, I think it's about 7 o'clock in the evening there now. Thank you all. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. And we see you on the 4th Monday of September. All right.
That would be the 26th.
The 26th of December. Same time,
No,
same
September.
place. September.
Could you say I thought I heard December. I thought I heard December. I could be wrong.
I don't know. Well, it's September. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Daisy,
Bye.
you were awesome.
I choose to only think of thoughts. I choose to only think right thoughts. I choose to only think right thoughts. Rumor time reflects. When my mind is upset, I can change my mindset. Do not be thrown offset. Rumor time.
The rumor time process, and I came across this quote: behind every behavior is a belief.
Whatever setting you go to, whether you're at church, whether you're at school, whether you may be having
I was
an issue
able
at home.
to analyze a little bit more.
Bringing about real positive
In order for me
changes.
to be effective, I have to be reflective. And this training
I gather an appreciation for reflecting. And I
Take it from just something that's inside to getting it in a tangible form, getting it out from.
Fulfilling and rewarding to see the kids who coming and they sincerely growth in them. They became more reflective in their thinking, to see children grow and not just see but to be a part of it.
What I have learned in camp about rumor time is that it's a process for solving problems we face in our
reduces a lot
lives.
of my stress, and then I begin to enjoy and spend time on the things that really make me happy.
I recommend this training to all age, from kindergarten.
Before you do that thing that you'll regret, or say that thing.
If you breathe and think, you should have this training.
I would recommend this to everyone.